All right, good afternoon, and welcome to our series of live instructional webinars designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Our goals today will be to introduce participants to the functions of program associated with the beginning stages of yearbook creation. Specifically, we will be reviewing logging into the program, familiarization with the dashboard, page ladder, font selection, and setting up your photo share site. Um, and that way parents can get photos to you. And we're also looking at some ways of transferring material from your previous year's MBO account, such as your layouts, and then kind of prep you for the next installment for next week, in which we're sending in class portraits, and if you still need to do that, and what you may need to do there. Um, so over here on what I have on the screen right now, this is just the homepage of memorybook.com. It's a good place to start if you come here at the very top of our homepage here. We have a link for Memory Book Online. So you can come right here and easily get to the Memory Book Online program. There. All right, so here on the login page, you're just going to use that information that was provided to you by your sales rep there. So you're going to put in, your job year is going to be 2026. You're going to put in the job number that was given to you. And next comes down to the username spot. Now, in the email from your rep, you're provided with two sets of login information. There is the advisor password and or advisor login and the staff login. So these are your two default logins. If the advisor login is your all access, this is your all privileges login. And staff is a limited the staff login is a limited login, meant for like students and volunteers. So, if you are an advisor that is teaching with a yearbook class, you'll probably utilize both. If you are the sole person working on this, I mean, this is your project. You're probably going to be the only one working in it. You're the main advisor, or maybe it's you and a partner there. Then in cases like that, just you'll only really need the advisor login. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go under an all access one so we can see what that looks like. Okay, now before I hit let's go, a couple other things I'm going to show on here, on the login page. Um, there is a forgot password link. This will come more into play when you're setting up your staff accounts, if you do utilize those. This will also work with when we set up your account. Usually the advisor's email address is tied to the advisor login here. So forgot password, that should work off the bat for you. Down below that, we do have this continue with Google. Right now, this is something that is a pilot thing. This is not available for us at the moment. So it's there, but we don't have this kind of fired up yet for you. So I would still just log in using the normal information that we have up here. So I'm going to go ahead. I got all my info. Hit let's go. And okay. The first place, once we get logged in to the program, is we land on the dashboard here. Now, at first glance, have your school name. Then down below, you'll see that it has a few different modules here with just some information. This first one is the due date countdown. So here is where you're going to have, whatever your book due date is, there will be a countdown from that. I just don't have one set, but you will see a series of numbers here counting down to how many days, minutes, hours, minutes, seconds you have there. Next over is total pages. This is just kind of an at a glance where your status is. So anything that is in this dark gray here, this is not started. Anything that you kind of see in this purple color, that's your in progress. Then there's a magenta color for completed, and there's like a teal color then for submitted. And we kind of see more of those on the page ladder. Um, Next up is upcoming events. These are events that you can put in yourself. Like here, I have just put in like Groundhog's Day prep. If you want to pull that up, just click on that little calendar there, and that's going to bring up. I'll actually bring up the info for two modules here. I'm going to go back one here real quick. So whether you're working in upcoming events and tasks, um, they both bring up in the same spot there. So upcoming events, these are just things if you're working with a group, and you have different events going around. Maybe I just have this one as Groundhog's Day prep. You can come up here and click the little plus button. They'll give you a name to put in, events. Maybe you have a certain games or events going on in the school. You can put that event in there, give that a description. And then back down on tasks, this is where if you are working with a group, or maybe you want to leave yourself your own notes. Maybe if you are the sole advisor working on this and you want to leave yourself, kind of a checklist of things that you need to do in the book, this would be a great place to set yourself up a checklist. Um, to add tasks, just hit that little plus there too, get something like that. Maybe, that task is uploading some candid images, or uh, uploading Miss Jackson class candid. Maybe you have specific pages, different groups that you're working on that day. Um, Now it gets to the assign to. We're going to get a little more into this as you start setting up your staff logins. You'll have more to pull from here. So then you can, yearbook advisor, I kind of put that name in on the advisor on my account, but in terms, this could be your name here. So if you're assigning yourself a task, these are just other staff on the job, so I can assign those. So I'm just going to assign that to myself. And let's see, what's a good due date that I want to upload this? I want these done by the end of the month. So I'm just going to put 30th there, last Friday of the month, and hit add. And then we got that task that adds into our module. So again, it's just something it's kind of a useful tool here to keep yearbook progress on track. Like I said, you can use this if you're a yearbook advisor that is teaching a class and you need to divvy up some stuff for the students helping. It's a great tool. Or if you're just the sole advisor and you need to keep just a checklist for yourself, it's a great way too. So I'm going to go back to home here. There's just a couple other little modules here. It's just basically our images module and our tagged images. Tagged images is going to keep track of, once you're uploading your images to the program. Um, Tagging, as far as candid images, if you are looking for kind of fair play usage amongst the students in your photos, tagging is a great way to tag those, because then you could tag the candid images, you tag multiple students on that photo. And if that photo is used, there is a coverage report here in the program that just keeps track of how many times that tag is used. That way, you can see, certain students, oh, okay, maybe you're trying to keep things to where you want, fair usage, maybe 3 to 4 pics of each student, or, 2 to 3. But tagging definitely helps with that. And then the images module just gives you, what's uploaded, um, what has come through into your library there. And these just these will take you into the library here. So here's our dashboard, just basic, where you're at, and also, upcoming events and tasks will help you kind of keep track of
Sorry, we cannot hear you.
Oh, thanks for pointing that out. I think I hit the little mute button on the back. So how long have you not heard?
5 seconds, 5 to 8 seconds.
Oh, okay, so not very long then. Okay. Oh, okay, thank you. um, Clip this a little different so I don't hit that again. All right. I think I've got it now, or I won't hit that little button again. Okay. All right. So on that brief part I cut out there, I guess what I was leading up to is just the main places you're going to be going under the site will be under the plan and create menus. Just plan is where we're going to focus on today. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Now, if you are logged in as an advisor, you will see a full array of options here. Page ladder, that's our page ladder where we do a lot of setup. Staff is where we're creating our staff, fonts, styles, and photo share. So we're mainly going to be focusing on these sections today. Over under the create menu, this is where you're going to find like your page designer. It's where you're going to do all your building. The page ladder, that's basically, you can get back to there under plan. Page mover. Now, page mover, that's will allow you to move pages. Now, page mover is an advisor only area. So on a staff menu, this option will be removed. Image library, everybody accesses the image library. The image library here in the program is where you're going to do all of your uploading of your candidate and activity images. And once you're in the program, that's where you'll set those up under activities. You start with a few default folders here, but if you want to make your own, you will just select activities, just highlight that main section there, and you'll come up here and hit add subcategory. And here's where you can give that folder a name, and it could be, Miss, like the earlier example, Miss Jacks. Well, I'll just put it in Miss Jackson's. I just put candidates, but I mean, you could basically name these anything that helps you know what those particular images will be. So I'm going to hit add. So once you have your folder over here, just select your folder, and in the very upper right, we have our upload button. And when you go to upload, I'm kind of at full screen here, so you can hit choose images and then navigate to where those are. If you don't have your browser window covering the whole screen, if you keep things a little smaller, have a folder off to the side, you can drag and drop those images into this little dashed square area, and they'll begin uploading to that folder. If you have your images in a Google Drive folder, you can connect to that Google Drive folder and upload images from there. But just wanted to give you a brief overview of just uploading candid images. But yeah, there's in the library, it's pretty much, select one of the folders that's here, or make your own and upload away. So it's pretty much familiar if you're uploading images on a lot of social media or other websites, and that it's very, very similar to those. But just wanted to check out some of that stuff under the create menu there. We'll kind of next installments, we'll kind of be showing stuff under these areas. But back to plan. Now under plan, if you are in as advisor, you see all these options. Now, if you're just in as staff, you'll only see page ladder. Now, I'm going to start here at the page ladder just to show this area. The page ladder is a place where a lot of things come to here. You'll come here to assign depending on how, your organizational needs, you can come here and add sections to their sections. You can add topics like what you want those pages to be. You can also assign pages to particular staff to have them worked on. So as we're looking around the page ladder here, see that there are previews of what is on the page. So as you're working on your pages and you're saving, the preview here will update to reflect what's there on the page. Your status down below will let you know, it's kind of that dark gray color. So dark gray, not started. Once you start working on it, it'll go to this purple color in progress. And I don't think I have anything. Oh, this page might be ready to go. So here, I'm just going to mark a page complete here. But I'm not going to submit it because I'll have to let's get that back. So here's that teal color. So just to give you an idea, so just where that page is at in progress. So you see the bottom colors will change to reflect that status. Um, Before I got much further in here, one thing I think to show you is about staff and how we'll do that. So because it kind of helps to have staff set up when you're back in here to bring them on and assign them. So we'll come back to page ladder here. We're going to go to plan and we're going to go to staff. So before you'll start off, when you first come into this area, you will see just the main or your default advisor login. And there's usually a default staff login. I think I've just put a name on mine. So if I hit edit, yeah, it'll just be staff there. So in addition to those, um, as a yearbook advisor, here's where you can come in and if you want to change your password, you can change or update your email address depending on where you want that forgot email password to come from. You can change that. What we do suggest is if you are working with a yearbook class or group, or maybe you're a PTO group, is to come in here and add, in addition to the generic staff, because this one you'll want as a backup, the one that you have on here, but you'll want to set up each additional staff usually with their own login. So to do that, when we're in this area in the upper right, we're just going to go up here, click Add Staff. And then we'll put in our first name. Yeah, Sue. I'll just do Sue Smith, and then username. Sometimes on the username will be something completely unique that you can put in for them. Usually, you'll want to pick we've seen a lot of people do like maybe first initial, last name. If the students have student numbers, they could use those if they're familiar with them or that. But you'll come in here and then you'll give them a username that's unique to them. So when they go to log in, that's what they'll put in that username spot. Password, let's see. Let me start putting in here. Okay. Okay. So when you're putting in a password, it's a minimum of 10 characters. You must have at least one upper and lowercase and a number. When setting up multiple logins, one thing you can do is everybody does have to have a unique username. But as the advisor, for simplicity, you are able to set them up all with the same password. So that way, that you keep that part a little easier for yourself. But yeah, the username will need to be unique, but this can be, you can name you to do like yearbook and then, the year, or, or anything that's just familiar to your class, and then you just go with that with each user. Then we get to the email spot. This spot is optional, but the email spot is what is used for the forgot password link on the home page. Now, a lot of times, students, yeah, a lot of schools, a lot of students may not have an email address, um, or they may have a student email address that you could use. Um, so while this spot does work with the forgot password link here, if you do need to put an email, because if a student doesn't have an email address, what we have seen is some yearbook advisors will put their email address, their school email address in here. And that way, when the student does the forgot password link, they have to include like their username and I believe their job number. So that will come to your email, and then you can help that student with resetting their password. So it's also a way to kind of help, if they don't have their own or don't want to use their own email address for privacy concerns or stuff like that. That's definitely suggested routes for the teacher to use their address. That way they can facilitate that reset with the student. And then the last spot here is the role. Um, there you'll see 4 roles here. This one is not active in our site here. But you'll then see that you have advisor, which is you'll only want to use that on if you have like a co-person you're working with, like if it's just someone very trusted. Other than that, usually other people go in as staff, and now staff can still do a lot of stuff in the program. Um, they could build your pages, they could upload activity images. Um, they can't upload to portrait categories, but the editor login can. Um, Staff and editors can lock pages and complete pages, but only the advisor can unlock them or return them. Um, Staff can't, like I said, while staff and editors can upload images, only the editor is allowed to delete images. So that's another safety there. We'll go ahead and mark our example here is staff, and we'll hit save. And there we got our new login that's here. But that's really all this area is. Now another thing for an advisor is you'll have this view activity, and it kind of keeps track of who is doing what in the book there. So me under that login status set to completed, so it shows which username did that at the time. All right, now we're going to go back to the page ladder now that we got our staff set up. All right, so let's talk about kind of planning. If now it's something that is not necessary to complete your pages, but if you are working with a big group, or even if you want to help yourself keep track of what is needed on the page, there are sections and topics that you can apply to them, and that kind of show up in these. Up at the top drop down here, there's this where the section information is going to be. And right here in this corner, in the corner of each page, is going to be what the topics are that are assigned to that page. And then down below it's going to be the info here is where the info on who is assigned to that page, you'll see. So let's start with sections over on the left here. Now sections, these are like your main areas of your book. These we're going to put in, I'm just going to type in here. I'm actually just going to hit space and then kind of back that up, because if I just kind of put a space and back up, it'll generate the list of just the default categories that go here. So you see like academics, clubs and organizations, dance events. Those are kind of the same as those default folders that we saw under activity. Like if there's a divider, this section is portraits. I think there's just other things that are up here. Now, if there is a section that you like, big, sections are big big spots though. So if you don't have a certain section here, you can still type that in. I've done that with a few other, I've done candid pages because I don't think there's candid pages in there. I just did my own section, school events. So you can type those in. You can manually type in, you know, a brand new section here and hit the plus, and that'll add it to your collection here. Now to assign sections, let me get down here. I'll use these 2 pages here. They don't have a section applied to them. I do want those. Let's just say that they look like I have a portrait template on here, but I'm going to find, I named it class pages. So I'm actually going to bring that over. I'm going to drop it onto the page. And now you'll see that the top is assigned to class pages. Okay. Now, if you, let's say you accidentally grabbed the wrong section, you could just bring this over, toss another one on, and it'll apply the new section. Or there's a little drop down here to where you can just choose from the list what you wanted there. So that is sections. That's the main places of your book. Now we're going to go down to topics, and that's just a little bit smaller breakdown of what's in those sections. So start off with 2 tabs here. There is Smart Topics and there is My Topics. Smart Topics, if we open these up, these are all they're pre-populated topics that are all the way through here in different sections that are here. So basically it's kind of like in the section you had a pre-populated list. This is lots and lots of items here. So definitely if you have a moment, check through these, see if you have all that you need there. My Topics, that's anything that you may have clicked in Smart Topics, much like your sections, or if you didn't find that your specific topic in the Smart Topics, you can type that up and you can type that here as well. Like I said, I just put a space and I backspace. So there's just numerous topics that you can go through there. But like I say, you can still type that in here as well. And oh, there's Valentine's Day. So I'll do Valentine's Day just to add. But if it wasn't, then you can hit plus and that'll add it to your topics. Class pages. So I'm just going to keep using this. So class pages, and maybe I want this to be one of my upper grades or a specific grade. So I'm going to do 5th grade. So these are now the 5th grade pages. And now maybe I want someone specific to work on them. So I can now go down to my staff tab and I've got myself as the yearbook advisor. And then I've got 4 staff that I can assign to this. So I'm going to take the person I just created today, drag it over. This page is to Sue, and I'm going to have Sue do this page as well. Now, when assigning pages, you can assign up to 2 people per page. There. Now, how assigned pages work is if you are assigned to that page, only the logins assigned to that page are able to edit those pages. Everyone else can see them, but they're not able to make edits to them. Now, if there is a page that is left unassigned, an unassigned page is open for anybody to work on. So if you are not wanting pages just to be worked on without permission, or I guess, or you just don't, or maybe you're reserving certain pages for yourself or another person to work on, definitely make sure to go through, assign what you need. Also, I mean, if you're the book advisor and you don't want students working on certain pages, I mean, you could definitely assign those to yourself there. Now, another thing you can do as an advisor is maybe you have either like a page of importance or something that you don't want the staff to see, or that. Up at the top here, there is a hide button. So I'm going to hit hide, and basically it will kind of hide that page. So on the page ladder, so as the advisor, you are able to work on this. You are able to see this. Anyone else coming into this page will then kind of see a preview just like this. That's there. So that hide, it's kind of neat for special situation. If you have like a surprise, maybe a surprise page in the book, or a dedication, or you know, teacher of the year. Those those surprise pages. That's a good option to use. All right, so that was the page ladder. Now the other thing that I'm going to show here is at the top of each account, you will have a start with last year button. If you are brand new to Memory Book Online, you won't have this because you won't have anything to pull from the previous year. But if you're a second year person and or a Memory Book Online veteran, start with last year will be there for you. As long as your job number stays the same, you'll have this start with last year button. And what this will do is if you're just getting into your job and you have nothing kind of started that, um, if a lot of times some people want to use that layout from last year. So that's what Start with Layout does. Start with last year will bring over your layouts from last year, from your pages from last year, and it brings them over in template form. So it'll bring over the base layout just minus the photos and minus the text. The text is reverted to just a filler type that you can then backspace out and just put in with your own kind of stuff there. That's kind of what I just jumped onto a page in the designer, but that's if you see some stuff that looks like this lorem ipsum, that's just text that has come carried over from the previous year. It's not that it's in a different language or anything. It's just this filler type. So we backspace that out and we can type what we really wanted to say. So just to give a heads up on that, if you bring over templates from the previous year and you're like, it kind of looks funny. Well, it's just filler type. That's there. Um, let's see. But yes, definitely if we go back, um, definitely if you're looking for someone that likes to keep a lot of the things, definitely use Start from last year. Now, even if you do use the Start from last year, anything that you bring over is not anything that is set in stone. So it's just a template that comes over. Um, but yeah, if it comes over with a background spot in it, you can change that out to a different background, different clip art, change up the coloring, the font styles. Um, but just to put that out there. Um, let's see. All right, so that's the page ladder. So we're going to move back under plan here real quick. We'll touch on fonts. Fonts, pretty much straightforward. This is where the area you're going to come into, and you're just going to activate the fonts that you want to use in your yearbook. If we're when we first get in here, it's everything, all the fonts available. There's a drop down for type that'll allow you to go between the different kind of styles here. So there's your script fonts, which I'm going to preview. If you click on a font, it'll preview it off to the right here. So go to serif, little fonts here. Now, when starting your book here, I'm going to bring these two fonts to your attention here. There's AYT Foundation Roman and AYT Foundation Sans. These are the two fonts that you start with when you first get into your book. Do not inactivate these because these are tied to your styles, which we'll talk about right after this. But styles, yeah, so don't delete these because it will hinder you on the next step or later when you go to build your pages. So deleting these two basically takes your text box options away. But you can then make new ones. But basically, if you delete these, it wipes out your default styles. Um, but activating fonts, it's real quick and easy. So if you see a font that you like, just come over and change it from inactive to active. Now, one thing about activating fonts is, let's say I'm going to get down here. So let's say I go to find something down in the bottom, or in the middle there of my fonts, and I go to hit active. Well, everything moves a little fast here, and you may not realize that you've activated your font, but activated fonts will immediately shoot to the top of the list here. So just something to point out. Sometimes we have to kind of put that out there. It can be real easy to activate several fonts and not realize it just because it's not very noticeable here. But so that's why we just want to give you that heads up that, once you activate it, it shoots to the top of the list. And once it's active, it's good to use in the designer. So that is fonts. And the next spot we'll go to under plan is we'll go to styles. What the styles are, so basically styles are pre-formatted text boxes in a way. Um, when you first get into your job, you start with 5 styles. I think there's a headline, there's a subheadline, body copy, tagline, and that, or a caption. And each one of these is it's a starting font. It's a font that starts at a certain size, style, a certain style, font style and size that's there. And when you, so they're set this way, and that way when you bring text boxes over to the page, they just start in that size. If you delete the foundation, Romans, and sans, it'll wipe out your styles. But you can always add them or add new ones. We'll go over here, we'll hit add style. And from here, you can give your style a name. Maybe you're wanting, like highlight, I've got, let's see, candid heading. Maybe I want to make this a class page heading. If you want to be specific, category, you could give it a category. Let's see, you choose their font. So you give it a little preview, choose your size, and we're going to hit save. So now you have your own style. And just to kind of show you what those are real quick, I'll go into the page designer. That way it kind of makes a little more sense here. All right. So the styles are, like I said, they are pre-formatted text boxes. So if I go under this text tab, here are those styles, and here's my style that I just created, class page heading. When you drag this over to a page, it just starts that text box in the font style and size that was created. So that's all what a style is. But I just kind of wanted to bring that to kind of. Now, the good thing about styles is once they're on a page, they just start that way. So it's anything you bring onto a page for the most part is changeable. So even if you bring one of your styles over the page, you're like, well, maybe I want it just a little bit smaller for this page or that, you can still adjust it, make those changes in there. But that's just, style is just what it starts at. All right. So that was styles. And I think the last thing we'll kind of wrap up here, that's fine, I'll just say this, is our photo share. So under plan, we have photo share. Now what photo share is, it's a connected site to your memory book online program that allows the school community, parents, teachers, and that to contribute images to the yearbook. uh, all without them not having access to the yearbook. So it's connected but separate. When you come in here to set your school set up your photo share, the school assets is something that we are still working on. It's still in the work here. So in time, we'll have this to where it can get more changeable for you. But when you first get in here, you'll see that you just have your settings. By default, your school life section already is here. It's kind of toggled on. You will set an end date for your site. Um, Usually, what we suggest is maybe about a week before your book due date, and that just still gives you a week to kind of go through the last images coming in that you can then kind of review and sort. Down below, we have a kind of a default set of photo guidelines that you can go by. You can So while this is here, you can delete this out and put in your own guidelines. Maybe put in guidelines of only taking photos for whatever the event is at the time. So at this time only taking welcome back winter break photos or something, any of that. And you can come back in here and change this each time. Now, another option that's under photo share that you can turn on is the portraits. This is where it's really good for if you're trying to collect certain senior portraits, or not so much senior portraits, but whatever that graduating grade could be. So it could be on certain schools, they have eighth grade graduation. Maybe it's some eighth grade grad pics, but that's mainly what this little section is turned on for, is just to get certain portraits on that. Now at the top up at the here, let's see, I have already activated my site here. I'll turn it off real quick. And that way, okay, so I just turn it off, turn it back on. That way, after you get done setting up your info, you will then come over here and click activate. And at that time, you're going to get a link that you can copy and you can paste into your own flyer. Also, if you want to paste, you can also download this QR code. Now take you to your site there and copy that. But then any of the users will then come into the photo sharing site, and they'll list who they are, first name, last name. They'll pick a grade and their email, and basically they'll go to continue to verify. They'll get a verification email, just make sure it's them, and then they'll be able to contribute images. But definitely, this is definitely very handy in setting up. We definitely suggest this. It's just a more streamlined way of getting photos to you instead of hunting. Maybe you got people sharing them through Dropbox or Drive, or sending them through email. This is just a little bit cleaner spot where they all come already into the program for you, and then that way you can divvy them up in your library where they really need to go. All right. So that kind of leads us up to where we were going for today, just to plan how to get started, how to get stuff set up. Um, in the upcoming, or if you, in the next installment, we're going to go about working with portraits and setting up class pages. So in the meantime, in addition to that, what we're kind of prepping, or what we're looking for, is if you have your class photos to, if you still need to send those in, definitely get those to us. Whether it's if you got a Life Touch link, you want to forward that to your rep, or if you need to share those through Drive or some other means, or through our FTP site, definitely reach out to us and get the information. That's best how we're going to share to you there. Um, Now, the next installment kind of goes through and we'll walk you through on once those class photos are in and uploaded and how to get them on your pages. All right. Um, so thank you for joining us today. So hopefully by showing examples, areas of, login, page ladder, setting up your fonts, your styles, and photo share, um, creating your book will look less like a challenge, and you can avoid some pitfalls that accompany any computer software there. So transferring material from last year's site using the start with last year is definitely beneficial, and sending us your portrait link should pay off some time savings down the road. So feel free, join us next week as we begin preparing portraits for the auto flow and build some class pages, and we'll see you then.
Hi, I have a quick question.